Hello! Today we're watching episode 206 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Nobody gets the fleece. Clock it. I'm so excited for this episode. I'm in my merch again. And I've been hearing good things. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this episode is really just like Polyphemus. I think I just reread the Sea of Monsters, and I still don't even remember how this like battle goes. Like if they defeat, like obviously they escape, but I feel they don't kill Polyphemus. So I guess I'll find out what happens. But I think this is when they like get off the island and they get Grover and Clarice out and everything. Why is this not coming up in my recent watch? But yeah, I hear there's a part where like Percy goes, "Don't touch her!" And I'm so excited. So yeah. And I'm loving them hiding as if they're the sheep. Love that. Oh, he's in the water. Wait, what's happening? Why is he in... Oh, it's Tyson! Ah! I forgot about you, bro. He looks so confused. Ah! We've never seen Tyson breathe underwater, I don't think. I don't know. He works in the forges underwater, so maybe it's implied. Ah! The dead campers on the floor is crazy.
So what's wrong?
So
Did you
what's
have another
wrong?
boyfriend? Okay, what do you look like?
She.
What? Oh, I'm pausing. That is such a gag. Them to make Thalia Kronos is so good. She could be the child of the prophecy that will either destroy or save Olympus, and that might be a huge part of season 3. Love. Because from what I remember, that's not a huge thing in the books. Like, we're not really talking too much about, like, Thalia being the child of the prophecy and turning evil. But it's giving, is Thalia the child of the prophecy, and is she going to turn evil? And Tamara, face card, never declines. She's so beautiful. For her to be under that cloak and be like... I love Clarice and Grover. What is that? Is that gold ichor? Is someone Iris messaging her?
Territory, which gives him a big edge over.
I don't need your advice. And I really don't need your help. Luke, Kronos has already changed you. You can't even see how much of yourself you've lost.
Oh!
Just wish.
Percy smacked that Iris message out of it.
Polyphemus is leaving me.
Think woolly thoughts.
What?
Just be a sheep.
I'm editing this video in my car, and I just want to say I love the think woolly thoughts, because I just feel like that is giving me a lot of like the recent like senior year adventures. It reminds me of the dialogue in those. I don't know why, just like the silly like lightheartedness of it. And it just really makes me think, like, Annabeth isn't afraid anymore to say stupid stuff in front of Percy. She's just, like, saying whatever. Think woolly thoughts. Woolly thoughts. Oh, come on, she knows how to tie a knot. Come on, knot tying class at Camp Apple. The fleece is dripping on her. Ew, I hate that, by the way. It's fake. Ah!
Hi.
Not Clarice catching him.
Little demigod, and I will make sure to kill you.
Tempting, but I'll pass.
Oh my god, we're seeing it from Annabeth's
Which of the gods
perspective.
sent you?
Nobody sent me.
Nobody.
I just want to say also, I'm a longtime hater of the Percy Jackson TV show Reddit page. It's really, really nasty. If you want to go to a place of like no fun and no whimsy, that's where you can go. But I saw someone on the Reddit being like, well, the episode title doesn't even make sense because nobody gets the fleece is the title of the episode, but like Luke gets the fleece. And it's like, tell me you have no media literacy without telling me you have no media literacy, because the title is obviously a play on the fact that Annabeth is pretending to be nobody, like the Odysseus thing. And like in the book, someone gets the fleece. They get the fleece. And I'm just like, so you're stupid. Yeah. I love it. What is that? Oh, you're lying, bro. You're lying. What just he teleported? What just happened? He teleported to Polyphemus' island? How did he do that? Music.
Ukotos. Percy's not
Ukotos.
like you.
Ukotos.
He's a hero.
Oh! He just judo flipped him. That's not a judo flip, never mind. Hey! Hey! Is there 2 Tyson death assumptions? Cause that's crazy. Like, that can't be real.
Annabeth!
Annabeth?
No. No, don't touch her! Don't touch her! Get away from her! Luke, you better not hurt her! Annabeth!
Y'all, I'm gagged. I'm gagged.
She's done it.
Wait, they used the fleece to revive Annabeth.
We can use the fleece
Isn't
together.
that-
You have it?
They're gonna team up. They're gonna team up with Luke. Give Luke the fleece to save Annabeth.
Now! Clarice, you need to give the fleece to Luke.
Are you crazy? I'm not sacrificing the quest.
Gag it. And that's why Clarice,
Annabeth would understand.
her fatal flaw isn't loyalty.
Never let another warrior fall in the battlefield.
Y'all are gaslighting Clarice. Y'all are gaslighting Clarice. Yeah, bro, put it on her. Like, hurry up. Like, now.
Is she okay?
Where is he taking her?
She will be. I know. What happened to Polyphemus?
Oh, they know each other.
He won't bother anyone again.
What does that mean?
Luke took Annabeth.
Okay, so Luke did open another portal. Percy,
Now.
you can control the
We get them
water.
back.
Get on a wave.
How do we get off the island?
They can ride Rainbow.
I had a vision. Luke, I think the fleece can bring Thalia back to us.
Oh, little hero.
5 against 1, huh? My kind of odds.
Blackjack. Okay, my immediate thoughts after having watched that episode is that I think that might be like my second favorite after episode 4. Maybe. Episode 4 was just like so good, but like I loved like having everyone there, like literally all, right? Yeah, all 6 of the like series regulars were in this episode. I love the changes they made with Luke. This is my whole thing with this show is like, as much as say like in a season they will make like maybe 2 changes that I'm like, I wish they didn't do that, like the bubble change or something like that. But at the same time, they make like 10 other changes that I love. And I'm like, it adds so much to the story. It makes it so much clearer and just like more incredible. And so that's like why I'm riding for this show. So that's all. Hello. So it's 2 a.m., but don't worry about that. Today I'm going to be doing my little discussion of episode 6 of season 2 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I'm so excited. As you could see probably in my reaction, I loved this episode, and I low-key think it might be like my favorite of this season and maybe even of the whole show. Like, I'm so torn between this episode and episode 4. Just like, I really, really love this episode. I love the writing, the lines, the dialogue was so good. The way, like, the editing, the way it went from thing to thing and like cut back, like everything was great in terms of that. The pacing of it, when each element came in, it was just so good. Having all 6 of the main characters there was so fun. I think they had some really fun changes in this episode from the book, and that's personally like one of my favorite things about this show is getting to like experience it all in a new way, because there were things in this episode that don't happen in the books that I was like so gagged by. And even like, I'm pretty sure they did this at the end of season 1 as well, or at the end of episode 6 of season 1, where they sort of leave it at a point where you like genuinely don't know what's gonna happen, even if you've read the books, which I love. So, oh, that's cute. Love that. So yeah, let's just go through this episode because it was so good. So yeah, first of all, we start out with Tyson underwater gaining his Poseidon powers and reuniting with Rainbow. I finally understood the whole thing with the bracelet. It's that Rainbow is attracted to like the shininess of it and is giving it back. I didn't understand that until this episode. So we finally got there. That scene reminded me so much of the scene in season 1 with the St. Louis Arch. Just like, I mean, obviously both of them are like underwater scenes, but it's also like when Tyson and Percy both gain their powers, they both just seemed very similar in terms of like music and the way they're shot. So love that. Yeah. And then we go right into Percy's dream, which insane. The dead campers on the ground. I was so gagged by that. I love them bringing in some darker stuff for this season, especially because like next season, like, girl, people are gonna die. Like, people are dying next season. So we sort of need to like tee that up a little bit. So I love that we did that. But yeah, he has the dream. He sees all the dead people on the floor, and then he sees Kronos, or some hooded figure, but there's lightning. And then Percy wakes up all startled, and he's freaking out, and he starts talking to Annabeth about it, which was such a cute scene of her just like sort of calming him down, reminding him of the plan, you know, settling things. And he brings up that the hooded figure was Thalia. Gag it. Sort of like, I don't know exactly what was supposed to be meant by that. I guess it's just sort of reminding us that Thalia is this like background force that might be coming back for evil. My thing is that like, I'm wondering, for people who haven't read the books, what are they thinking? Because it seems to be kind of way more clear in the show than it was in the book that Thalia is going to come back. But like, I wonder if people are even considering that, because in the thing at the very end of this episode that sort of like teases next week's episode, there's
dialogue between Annabeth and Luke, I think, about Annabeth thinking that the fleece could bring Thalia back, which is like not even something that's on their radar in the book. So I wonder if they're sort of just like not trying to be as subtle about it, and they're just like, well, yes, Thalia's coming back, and you just have to find out why. I don't know, but I love the ambiguity of Thalia right now, that like we don't really know her, we don't know what side she's on, don't know who she supports, especially because like obviously we know in the third book she obviously joins the hunters and then is sort of in like neutral ground there. Like she obviously doesn't join Luke, but I'm excited to see. I'm also excited to see if in episode 8, when Thalia comes back, if she's gonna have more screen time than just her like, I'm Thalia, daughter of Zeus, or whatever she says. Because she's giving big character, and I just love the connections between Thalia and Percy. I love that she's in his dreams. I love the mind meld of it all, especially because there's like lines in Sea of Monsters where Annabeth is like, you and Thalia, if you would have met each other, you would have loved each other or you would have killed each other. And that really comes back big in book 3, because they have that big fight because, you know, tensions are high after Annabeth gets taken. Anyway, I love that Thalia was in that hooded jacket. It was so chic. And I said this when I first saw it, but Tamara is so gorgeous. And she was just like under the cloak. Slay. So yeah. Yeah, that's all that happens there. But I loved the little conversation they had. And also, Annabeth was like being so gentle in the way she was speaking. Like, there was something, I forget what it was, but like, she was saying like, we have a plan, and then like Percy was like talking about the plan, and they were so in agreement, and then she was like, yeah, so what's wrong? And the way she said it was just like so like earnest. I don't know, love it. And I think this has a lot to do with like what happened last episode, you know, like they're feeling closer, they're feeling more connected. Yeah. Next we get Polyphemus's little speech, basically just sort of introducing, you know, like he likes to be alone on his island. I really like this as a way of, first of all, just like introducing Polyphemus as like this big like Greek figure who has been here for millennia. Like it just felt very like powerful and very classic. But I also love the idea that like he's talking about how like he likes to be alone, it's just him and his sheep, whatever. But for our main characters, one of the big things of this season is that like you can't do this without your friends. That's the whole like Clarice's whole prophecy is about like how she needs friends to succeed in the quest, all that. And I loved how by the end of this episode we see that like no one leaves Polyphemus's island alone. Like Luke and Annabeth leave together, and then the other 4 leave together, and I'm like no one's alone. Tea. Yeah, and then we get a little talk in Polyphemus is in the cave, and then Grover and Clarice are all like tied up, and we get to see a little sneak peek of the golden paint or whatever that is that's on the fleece. At first, my first thought was that it was golden ichor, because I was like, what else could it be? But then I was like, why would Polyphemus be bleeding just out here? Like, I don't know. But I loved that change. I love that the fleece was fake and that there was a real one hidden. Like, I thought that was such a gag. I loved that it was a trap. I loved how everyone was screaming, it's a trap, as Percy was going in and he just like couldn't hear them. Love it. I loved Clarice and Grover's dynamic in the cave. I think they're so good for each other. Like, I think Grover is obviously teaching Clarice a little bit about like how to do some teamwork, although it doesn't really work because she fully just like uses his body as a battering ram, which I thought was so funny. Her just lifting him up and slamming him into the mirror. I love that. Yeah, and Clarice is teaching him how to be a little more tough, because he'll need some of that for his pan quest, you know what I mean? Yeah. I also made a note that the music in this episode was very good, and I don't know what instrument it is, but I noted that it sounded somewhat Middle Eastern. Don't know if that helps. It was very like, the best way I can describe it is that there's like a specific instrument used in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban that sounded very similar to this. It very much like in the Weeping Willow Cottage, like when it's like dun 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 dun, dun, whatever like that sort of like pingy string instrument is. Like, I don't even know what it is. I can't even begin to describe it. It almost sounds like something you would play like with a hammer, but it's strings. I don't know. But it was very like magical, and I was like, it was a nice little like switch up from the normal music. Loved it. And then, okay, so Percy and Annabeth have now gotten onto the island. They are putting their plan into place, which is basically that they're going to disguise themselves as sheep and then get to the top of the hill, go into the hole in the top of the cave, go down, get Grover, because they don't even know Clarice is there. Get Grover out, get the fleece, and then leave. That obviously all goes wrong. So Annabeth is in the sheep pen. She's getting their sheepskin so they can disguise themselves. Percy's on watch to see when Polyphemus leaves the cave. And this is when we get the Luke Iris message. Let me tell you, when we got the Luke Iris message, I was freaking out. So, like, me, when we saw Luke in person at Polyphemus' island, I was so shook. So, I love the Iris message. He basically shows up, and I'm really, like, I wonder what he was actually trying to do, because I can see two sides of it, where, like, he basically just calls her and is sort of like, on one hand, checking in to see like where she is, because he's like, you're at Polyphemus' island. And so on the evil side of Luke, you could obviously take that as like, he knows where she is, he knows she's really close to the fleece, he knows he's running out of time, that sort of thing. But then on the more sympathetic side, Luke is like kind of trying to give her some advice. He's like, I knew you were still alive. Sort of sweet. I'm a Luke apologist, so I'm more on that side, where I'm like, he was calling to tell her that she's like doing a really dangerous thing, that she needs to be careful. Like, big brother, come on. It also reminded me of in book 5, in like the middle of book 5, Annabeth reveals that in the summer between Battle of the Labyrinth, or not the summer between, but in sometime between Battle of the Labyrinth and Last Olympian, Luke physically visits Annabeth, allegedly, and asks her to run away with him, which is so crazy, by the way. But yeah, she like reveals this to Percy. But I love that they're like sort of including this earlier, because that always felt like such a huge like, whoa, what? And I like the fact that we're just keeping it like a steady throughout. Like, Luke wants Annabeth on his side, and he like knows that right now, and he's still trying to reach out to her. Loved it. Yeah, and then he talks to Allison. We can see him sort of losing control already, because the whole thing is that like we just see him losing control more and more and more to Kronos, and Allison was already sort of like talking down on him, being like, why are you spending time on this Annabeth Chase girl? He's already like losing track of his cronies. I don't know what you would call her. His goon? No. We can't call her that. Anyway, so obviously as they're doing this call, Percy runs up and swashes it out of the air and goes, "What are you doing?" Which was very funny, very good. Yeah, whoever came up with that, you smart. He's basically just like, "What are you doing? We have something to do. Why are you calling Luke?" And she's like, "He called me." Love. Then they do the whole sheep thing. That was very funny. Like, the humor of this episode really like hit the nail on the head when they were like doing the goat sounds. That was really funny. And then there's the whole like reveal that it's a trap. Percy's climbing down the rope and Grover and Clarice are yelling at him, "It's a trap, it's a trap." And I also loved, as he's climbing down, Annabeth realizes it's a trap as she feels the gold like drip on her, and she realizes it's not the real gold fleece. And she starts like whisper screaming at Percy. She's like, "Percy, Percy." And I don't know why I found that so funny, but it just, I thought it was so cute. And then like Polyphemus starts running at her and she starts screaming, "Percy, it's a trap." It's just so good. And then Percy falls in, obviously. As he falls in, he gets caught by Clarice. Hilarious. Him being like, "Hey," her dropping him. So good. Like, just small moments like that. Like, the humor was so on point this episode. And then Grover and Percy reunite. Besties, brothers for life. Love them. Yeah, and they have a beautiful little hug. Yeah. And then while they're down there, they're like, "Well, this sucks. We're all trapped in here." And Annabeth is masterminding. So she does the whole nobody thing. One thing I will say is that I felt like there was one line where she like directly explained the nobody thing from like the Odyssey. And I wish it was just like literally a single line, but I wish it was like a little more subtle. It was very like clear that they were like trying to like, explain like what they were doing. And I wish it was just like a little bit more like, she could have just said like, "Oh, reminds you of Odysseus," or like something like that. But she goes like, I don't know what the line is, but she's like, "Well, Odysseus came onto this island and he pretended to be nobody too," or something. Like, something is just very, very straightforward. And it's like, okay, calm down. Like, you could have made it a little more subtle. But I loved seeing Annabeth in the invisibility hat. That was so cool. Because, like, we literally, like, never get to see her physically wear the hat. Because when she puts it on, she's invisible. So, love that. Also, I don't know if they did this intentionally. I'm sure they did. But, with the effect they do when she has the hat on, basically, in... I don't know which book. I think it's Wrath of the Triple Goddess. It might be Chalice of the God. I think it's Chalice of the Gods, actually. I do think it's Chalice of the Gods. Percy puts on the invisibility cap, and he's like, "Whoa," because it vibrates your skull when you put the invisibility hat on. And like Annabeth never brought it up, and he's like, "This is like a crazy, like, this hurts." And she's like, "Yeah, it's just like sort of part of it." And so I think in whatever like CGI they did for the hat, where it's like sort of like like the effect they did to make it look like she's also invisible while she has it on, it looked like it was vibrating slightly. And I was like, I wonder if they're intentionally making it look like the hat has that like vibrating quality to it. I don't know, but it felt very like attention to detail. Love it. And then when she talks about Odysseus, all that, she ends it by saying, "That was just so rude." And then the camera cuts away, but before it does, she gets this like the tiniest, faintest little smirk on her face. And I thought that was so funny. Like, she's like, that was so rude. She's just like happy to be like messing with this guy. So yeah. Then this is where everything came together for me. This is when Luke physically shows up to the island in his little like sandstorm. I thought this was just like the gag of the century, the fact that he was physically there. It does bring up some questions to me of like, why hadn't he used that power more often? I feel like that's something very useful to just like teleport. Like, what do you mean? So, but they did put some like restrictions on it, but I'll talk about that later, so we'll see. But yeah, then Luke, as he's like walking up the hill, he looks down and he sees Polyphemus fighting no one. And I don't know if this was meant to be like up for interpretation or if this was like what they were clearly implying, but like I fully believe that like Luke saw that happening and knew that Annabeth was like messing with him with her invisibility hat on. Again, maybe that was obvious. I don't know. But I feel like he just like knew she was down there. And then all of this is like cutting in between scenes of Luke, scenes of Annabeth fighting Polyphemus, and scenes of Percy, Grover, and Clarice in the cave trying to escape. And so we start to see like them trying to find the real fleece in the cave, cut between Luke climbing the hill and finding the fake fleece up on the tree. It's so juicy. Like they literally like find them at the exact same moment. So good. Yeah. And then Annabeth comes back up to the top of the hill, and Polyphemus senses that they got the real fleece, and so he comes back up, he rolls open the little entrance thing, and he's like, you took my fleece. And then Annabeth slashes his ankle, and he like back of the hand slaps her. She gets beat up, she's bloody, she's bruised, it's like gnarly, like it's like up in her skin, she's in the sand, it's crazy. And it's like brutal, and her knife is bloody. It's like, oh. And then Percy says, no, Annabeth. I quoted that. He does say that. Which I loved everything in the scene that was reminiscent of like, stand back, no one touches her. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah. Then Tyson returns. I felt like the Tyson return was a little bit like, I don't even know. Because again, with the Tyson return, I feel like everyone had to have known he was coming back, right? Like they didn't even give his death. Well, okay, wait. I forgot we saw him at the beginning of the episode. No wonder it was so like not dramatic. I was like, why didn't they make Tyson's return like a whole thing? Because like he's alive. They showed him at the beginning of the episode. That's why, obviously. Okay, never mind then. Tyson comes back. He fights Polyphemus. It's really beautiful dialogue. Tyson choosing to be a good guy, choosing to be a hero. So powerful. Protecting his brother. Loyalty. It's giving Fatal Flaws loyalty. And he pushes Polyphemus off the edge. This also makes me wonder, because my understanding from the books is that your fatal flaw is like sort of directly based on who your godly parent is. But then as I was watching the show, I was thinking more like maybe that's not true. Maybe it's just like a person by person basis. But now seeing this, I'm like, I think Tyson's fatal flaw is also loyalty. So maybe it's hereditary. I don't know. But yeah, But yeah, that's that. Takes him off the cliff, whatever. And then it sort of gets quiet for a moment, and Percy's still looking through the little, like, sliver. I loved everything with the sliver of rock. I felt like filming through it looked really cool. Seeing Percy through it, just the way that he, like, couldn't get to Annabeth. So good. And then Percy's, like, in there, and he just, like, sees Annabeth lying, like, dying on the ground. And he's like, Annabeth? Annabeth! And then Luke shows up. This was phenomenal. And, like, obviously, as soon as we see Luke on the island, you can sort of see where it's going. And then we just see the fact that, like, Annabeth is out there and Percy's inside. You're like, we know Luke is coming right now. And they so delivered. They so delivered. And then I have this whole quote. This is from Percy when he sees Luke out there. He says, no, don't touch her. Don't touch her. Get away from her, Luke. You better not hurt her. Annabeth! And then Luke says, very solemnly, he says, she's dying. And then Percy goes, the fleece. And then, arguably, the best part of the episode, maybe the best part of the entire show so far, was this scene of oh my god, like the whole, like, negotiation over the fleece. It was so good, and I felt like everyone had such strong, like, character moments happening, because, like, Percy is desperately trying to get the fleece so he can save Annabeth. Clarice is desperately trying to keep the fleece so that she can succeed on her quest. Grover is trying to mediate once again and try to convince Clarice to give Percy the fleece so that Annabeth can be saved. Luke is out on the outside of the wall trying to get them to give him the fleece so he can save Annabeth and also take the fleece to revive Kronos. And it's just like this perfect storm of, like, everyone needs this thing, and it's like trusting these people, trusting Luke, who, like, so betrayed you, but, like, you just need him to do this thing. And, like, you know that Luke is gonna revive Annabeth. It's just the question of, like, is he gonna then run off with the fleece, which he pretty much does. And it's just so good. And also, need to say that, like, I think the way they did Clarice in this scene and, like, throughout the rest of this episode, they did her so well, because obviously in this exact moment, we're like, come on, Clarice, we need the fleece. But what she's saying does make sense. Like, first of all, she needs to save the camp. Like, that's what her quest was. And it's like, if she doesn't save camp, then it's like everyone is going to be in danger. So she needs the fleece. She can't give it up, and she just worked so hard for it. Also, her saying that, like, Annabeth would want them to keep the fleece and not give it to Luke is, like, that's true. Like, I would stand by Clarice on that one, saying that Annabeth would rather die than sacrifice the quest. I think she's right for that. And I think in a few moments when they do give up the fleece, and she's like, you just killed us. You just killed camp. Good job, hero. Like, it's just this perfect, like, I don't think anyone walked away from this episode being like, Clarice was too much. Like, Clarice is evil. Clarice hates Annabeth. Like, she was completely rational. But they could have messed that up, and they didn't. So, good job. Yeah, but I loved just, like, how Percy was running from Clarice, and then back to the cave entrance, and then back to Clarice, and just, like, trying to negotiate with Luke and also Clarice at the same time. So good. Okay, we need to talk about the portal, because Percy tells Luke to make a portal so that he can let them all out of the cave. And Luke says that he can't do it because he can only do one person at a time, and he can only do one portal at a time, which I don't know what that means, and I don't know if I believe him, because at the end of season 1, I'm pretty sure Luke is like, come with me, Percy, into the portal, meaning that both of them would be going through the portal. And also, I don't know what he means by like he can only do one at a time, because like the portal he had just done had closed. Like, is there a time limit in between when you can do each portal? Does it take like his own energy? Like, I don't know what the concept of the portal is, but I know that I feel like he was lying, because I feel like at the end when we see Luke go off screen with Annabeth, that he did a portal again to get back on the boat, because by the time they reach the edge of Polyphemus Island, that boat is so long gone, like, it's crazy. I'm like, I feel like he was lying about the portal, but I don't know why that would be. He probably was just trying to say, I don't know. I support him though. Yeah. But then there's a moment where Luke looks at Percy through that little sliver, and he goes, Percy, she's dying. And Percy gets what I'm calling the like trademarked dead eyes of Percy Jackson, which we see it happen in whenever Clarice hears the oracle. And I feel like there's a point where Annabeth does it too, but I don't know when, so I don't know. But it's just this moment of him being like, and he just like locks in on the fleece, and he jumps at Clarice and snatches it out of her hands, and then gets and just throws it at Luke, like stuffs it through the hole, throws it at Luke. And it's just such a dramatic moment, and I loved it. I love that not Luke. This is the second time today that I've accidentally called Percy Luke. Oh my gosh. I love that, like, despite all of the evil, Percy knew that Luke would save Annabeth. Knew it. So good. And then Luke picks up Annabeth and takes her away. And then Percy just has this, like, crazy look on his face of being like, oh my god, this boy. And then Clarice does her whole, you just killed us, you killed Camp, you probably killed Annabeth too, good job, hero. But she doesn't say it in, like, a mean way. She says it in, like, she's, like, almost breaking down and, like, crying when she says it. It's, like, so good. Because she's right. Sorry. And then, by that point, Tyson comes and gets them out of the cave. Tyson and Percy hug. Tyson meets Grover. And then they all go to the shore, where they see Luke's boat suspiciously... Wait... Oh, wait. Okay, I'm thinking back now, and the boat Luke ran off with is Percy and Annabeth's boat. I didn't realize that. I'm pretty sure it is. So, okay, I didn't realize that before. Got it. So he stranded them there without a boat. That's hilarious, frankly. Frankly, that's hilarious. But they take the hippocampi, is basically where we end the episode, where they see Rainbow and Rainbow's friends, and then they're like, let's go. So yeah, so I guess I kind of love the idea that, like, it's just Luke and Annabeth on the boat. I hope we see some, like, solid footage next episode of that. But yeah. Gag it. This was a perfect episode. I just loved everything about it. I am so excited for the next 2 episodes. I'm gonna be in my dorm for the next 2 episodes. Hate when that happens. But yeah, I think, so obviously episode 7, I think, is gonna be the, like, climax with Luke and everything. There might be a fight at camp. Is that true? I don't know. And then the final episode, I believe, is gonna be like the sort of recoup. You know, we gotta do like the final chariot race, Thalia reveal, all of that stuff. But I do think there's a possibility. Okay, because here's the thing. In the book, the final fight is in Miami. And then, okay, let's rewind. Percy, Grover, Annabeth, Clarice on Polyphemus' island. They get the fleece. I guess Tyson is there too, but they all have the fleece. And then they sail to Miami. From Miami, they give Clarice the fleece. She flies home with the fleece. Then they encounter Luke, who they then tell, we don't have the fleece anyway. It's already on its way back to camp. They fight with Luke. And then they win. And so Luke scurries away with his henchmen, and they all go back to camp. And then they have the chariot race and the Thalia reveal. But I'm thinking, based on just like seeing the shots from the trailer, it seems like the final fight might be at camp. Which, if that's true, then like maybe they're all going straight to camp now. Also because they've been introducing this idea of Annabeth directly telling Luke that the fleece might bring back Thalia. So I imagine that would make sense if like Luke went to Camp Half-Blood to heal the tree. But like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Because then I don't know. Clarice needs to fly home because it's in the prophecy and they didn't change the prophecy. She's still flying home alone. Maybe that's where Blackjack comes in. Like, is she gonna fly home on Blackjack or something? I don't know. But yeah, another thing is that, like, I feel like the Thalia reveal is gonna be coming earlier than we think. And it could even happen in the final fight. Not to get crazy. But there's this scene. It's like everywhere. The shot of Percy getting, the shot where Percy is like falls onto his knees and then like falls over, he is like fuming, like physically smoking in that scene. Like there are plumes of smoke coming from his armor and like his shirt, which is like, why would that be happening? It's giving he got struck by lightning, which would literally only make sense if it were Thalia. And so my thinking is like, what if Percy and Luke are fighting, and at some point during that fight, because I don't think we see very many clips of Annabeth in that final fight, in the trailer at least. What if Annabeth is at Thalia's tree, she has the fleece on it, Thalia comes back, Thalia sees Luke and this random kid who she doesn't know fighting, so Thalia sends a lightning bolt onto Percy, and then he like passes out from it. Like, I feel like that could happen, but I don't know. Also, there was something else I wanted to say and now I don't remember. Oh, there's another shot in the big final fight with Luke where Luke like punches Percy in the face. There's also one where he is like trying to literally like sword just like straight into it. Like, he's genuinely trying to like kill Percy in cold blood. And so I'm really excited to see like what motivates those moments. I feel like there's definitely gonna be some like harsh words being exchanged, maybe about Thalia, maybe about Annabeth. I don't know, but I'm excited to see what goes down, because I think next week's episode is going to be like the big climactic episode, and then 8 is going to be sort of just like calming it down, you know, like bringing Chiron back, maybe, all that stuff. So yeah. But yeah, I love this episode. Can't wait for the rest of the season.